And tell us about how you attempted to vote today.
Okay, so today I woke up this morning. I was excited about.
Where did you go to absentee vote?
Okay, I was in Delaware County, which is in Media, Pennsylvania, which is the Bureau of Voter Registration. So we go there to make sure that if we have any questions, if we want to get our absentee ballot. So it's the Bureau of Voting. So basically, they asked me for ID. I told them I had my voter registration card. I had the ID on me, which was my Georgia ID, which is a government-issued ID, has my picture, has my date of birth. I gave that to her because it didn't have the address that's here on my voter registration card and have it for PA. She asked me for a bill in my name. Luckily, I had a cell phone bill in my name, or I would not have been able to vote. However, I thought this was the form of ID that I needed, that is complete and is issued by the Delaware County of Pennsylvania. So this should have been enough in the picture ID that I currently had. Fortunately, I was able to vote today because I would not let them get me down or get me frustrated. So I was able to actually vote today. So I'm really excited. It was a long process for me today. It took about 35 minutes just to vote because I had to have all of these forms of ID on me. I think the number one form that you need to vote is your voter registration card. If they issue that to you, you should be able to vote.
And so lots of people are going to try to do early voting now. Lots of people are going to try to show up on November 4th. We're seeing already lines. We're seeing, examples of what happened to you today where somebody really gave you a hard time. What would you tell other voters in America?
What I would tell other voters is to make sure that you are prepared on Election Day, that you have your voter registration card, and that you do have some form of ID just in case they ask you, because you want your voice to be heard, and you have time to make sure that you have at least one form of ID if it's your first time voting. And remember, if you only thing you have is your voter registration card, that is a form of ID. And don't let them send you away, because voter registration card is a form of ID so that you can have that right that you deserve as a citizen of the United States to vote. So voter registration cards are a form of ID.
And what would you say to people who say, you know what, I just don't really have time for this. I don't even think my vote's going to get counted.
You know what? I would say you do have time, because as long as you live in this country, you have time so your voice can be heard. Because if your voice is not heard, it's just not going to be good for a democracy. This country was set up a certain way, and you need to be involved. You need to participate. If I hear someone complain that they don't want to be involved, I think it's just not being a part of this community. I mean, everybody always says that, you want to be bigger and greater than our, ancestors. And I think if we continue to complain about the negative and not boost up the positive, then it just won't be a good thing. So first of all, I won't even allow them to get to that point. I think voting is very important. If people complain around me, I usually redirect them and let them know you live in this country because this is where your parents had you. This is where they want you to be. You should participate because this is your community. And the only way to make your community better is to vote.
And some people are saying, we're seeing, obviously, we've seen a presidential candidate say some nasty things about Acorn. And we feel like, they want to turn back the clock.
Yeah.
What would you say to, people who want to turn back the clock?
You know what? Turning back the clock is for the history books. In order to move on in society, we must change. Because without change, we're not creating something new for the country. And our ancestors didn't want us to stay 400 years ago. They want us to move forward because they want us to progress. And we want our future children to be able to progress. And staying in the past is not always a good thing. Moving forward is always best for everyone.